is Max, my last name is Traxxas, and I'm going to be doing an introduction to my new video series, the Exceed Nitro Rally Monster. This is going to be a 3-part video series. Some of my oldest videos are on this Exceed Nitro Rally Monster. In the second part to this video, we will be going outside on a Nitro adventure. In the third part, I am going to be getting an upgrade. What's up, Nitro gang? You're looking at one of my oldest Nitro RCs that I have. This particular one has been in many videos. In fact, it is one of my most popular videos where I talked about how to start it after very long-term storage. And in this video, I'm going to be attempting to run this, but I figured it would be a good idea to show some of the beginners in the Nitro gang culture, you know, what I like to do before I take out a Nitro RC from long-term storage. A lot of these things also apply when you're getting any Nitro RC. It could be new, it could be used, it could be really anything. It comes down to making sure you do your due diligence on checking the Nitro motor, checking the electronics, checking the failsafe, setting the failsafe, making sure you oil the air filter, basics just like that, even running a fuel filter. All of these things seem very minor, but if you're just starting out in this hobby, these are some of the most elemental basics that you must do in order to make sure this thing lasts a long time. Let me tell you about this one. This is a 2-speed Nitro Rally Monster from Exceed. I actually bought it from Exceed years ago, and this thing has never ever let me down. It is completely stock other than these mini Summit wheels. The original wheels look like this. They're actually still fairly good. They're pretty soft compound. I just don't particularly like them because they're, you know, substantially smaller than these ones. These ones look pretty much killer on this Exceed Nitro Rally Monster. I really like these particular wheels. In terms of top speed, I'm going to tell you right now, I've already speed tested it. This is a 2-speed. Let me show you the chassis itself. Pretty common, you know, Red Cat style Exceed. There's a lot of clones of these, but I got 39 miles an hour out of this, running a fairly rich tune with, you know, 20% nitro fuel. If you ran 30%, this could probably easily break the 43, 44, maybe 45 mile per hour barrier. But keep in mind, I am running slightly larger diameter wheels than the original one. So this in itself is about a 4 mile an hour difference. And I've already speed tested it and I've basically confirmed that.
And peg full throttle.
This is my Exceed Nitro Rally Monster. This is a .18 powered 2-speed automatic. It is one of the cheaper ones you could possibly buy. They are still sold new. They are not discontinued from nitrorcx.com. I paid about $150 for it with a discount code, so not a bad deal all around.
2-speed is on. Top speed right here, top speed. Okay guys, I shut off the engine. Look at that, 36 miles an hour. Frankly, I am surprised. And peg full throttle. Okay guys, there it is. Look at that, 39 miles an hour. So the slightly larger wheels did give me 3 miles an hour. That is not bad.
A lot of people say, oh, these are terrible. Oh, these are bad. They're copies, they're knockoffs. But you know what? If you're just starting out in Nitro RCs, this is a very good platform to learn on. The engine is relatively easy to tune. Yeah, it has some of the most archaic style header designs I've ever seen. You notice this header right here? It's a straight down side exhaust 90-degree header. This is the worst design that you could possibly have for free flowing exhaust. What you want is a nice circular style header. Nitro Mike knows all about headers. He recently got one of the most expensive headers I think available, due to the advice of the godfather of RC, Boulder Gel. Shout out to both of you guys. In terms of breaking parts, I'll tell you right now, you gotta be very careful with this pull starter. So this pull start is really close to the throttle return spring right over here. When you pull the pull start cord, it has pretty much 100% tendency of rubbing against the throttle return spring here. So when you pull it, make sure that you're angling your pull start cord a little bit outwards to the side. You don't want it to rub directly against the throttle return spring. A lot of people complain of their pull starters breaking, and I'll tell you right now, a frayed rope is actually going to be doing that. A model like this is not all fun and games. There is one big downfall, so check this out. Do you see what it is? Yep, the shocks are extremely bouncy. these do not have very good pistons inside unless you use like over 100 weight shock oil, which I have not attempted. I'll be honest with you. I'm only running 60 weight shock oil in here, but you could easily get, you know, a set of aluminum shocks for like $15 anywhere, and they'll be fine. Is it a massive problem? Not really. A lot of people modify their shocks anyway. You do have aluminum shock caps here, and I gotta say, they don't leak. It's just that the pistons inside the shocks themselves are extremely impossible to tune, and they're designed poorly. But if you wanted to replace these with normal shocks, this thing would actually be a beast. I will say it still drives fairly straight even at its top speed with these larger wheels. It doesn't flip, it seems to run just fine, and honestly, I like this chassis in general. The bottom is fairly clean. You guys could see the 2-speed peeking out right over here through the bottom of the chassis. It shifts on point all the time, never has any problems. I've honestly barely even adjusted the 2-speed. It's so good. Let's take a look inside the motor. I've already undone the screws with this Dynamite 2mm hex driver. Make sure you use good tools, because if you strip any of the screws inside here, that's pretty much the end of the world. You're gonna have to drill this out. Okay, here we go. Alright, looks really clean in there. Last time I used this, I did run after-run oil. Now, of course, all of it has pretty much drained down. You notice when I remove the head right here, the piston is not at top dead center. Usually in the middle is where you want to leave it. There is a pinch at the top of the cylinder sleeve, so that's really the reason why you don't want to have it at top dead center. It's going to have a tendency to pretty much wear out your pinch at the top. Right now I'm going to add a little bit of after-run oil, and then this is the only time that I will be using the pull start. I never cycle the pull start without making sure that the piston and cylinder is properly lubricated. Okay, let's pull it. Seems terrific. Look at that. Oh man. Perfect. Absolutely no seizing of any kind. This is the reason why you want to make sure that you store your nitro engines with after-run oil inside. You guys see how clean inside this piston and cylinder it is? It literally looks almost brand new, almost spotless inside. And guys, I have about 3 gallons of nitro fuel run through this motor, and this is probably the lowest quality of the, you know, non-name brands, knockoffs, 15 or 18, doesn't really matter, small block size engines. After-run oil, proper storage, that's really what's going to make these things last. Before putting this all back, you should also verify that your glow plug is in really good shape. Mine looks completely new. You can see the element is good. You should also visually verify whether in fact it does actually glow red. I'm going to stick my glow start on it. And you guys see that right there? Yep, it's pretty much as red as it's going to get. This is exactly what you want to see. If it wasn't red, well, you would need a new glow plug. Now I'm going to be checking the electronics, the radio system, whether the battery is strong enough, whether the cells need to be replaced. I'm going to power on my radio, turn the car on. Notice it says 5. That's just my model memory on my FlySky right here. 5 says ECX. Some of these little LED things kind of burned out, but it's not a big deal. I still know it's 5, and that is 5. I use this radio for like every single RC I have, basically 10 model memory here, and it's pretty adequate. Okay, so, you know, it's functional. This is the original stock steering servo, so you know what? That's why it's really, really bad, but it seems to be working. The throttle is good. The main thing that matters is the failsafe that's built into the receiver. So as I turn the radio off, you notice that nothing happens to the brake. It should be applying full brake. So right now I'm going to program the failsafe, make sure it applies brake when I turn the remote off. I just said the failsafe. I'm going to show you in a little that it does in fact work. I'm also going to be replacing the batteries with these fresh new AA's. But it's not that easy. Notice this electrical tape right here on the tire. I'm going to show you an old nitro trick. This actually saved my RC's life many, many times. So these things have a lot of vibrations, you know, mainly from the nitro motor, the chassis itself. It's a small RC car doing, you know, close to 40 miles an hour. And these battery packs sometimes actually break apart around the sides, or a cell could easily just come out. You notice all of these abrasions around the battery pack. Even though this is a pretty well sealed battery box, and I do have foam on the bottom there, sometimes this battery could come out. And if that happens, your failsafe, nothing's actually going to work. You better hope that the servo returns back to its neutral position. So what I like to do, I like to put some electrical tape around the actual batteries. This is the most ideal way to add a little bit of protection to the batteries. And notice, it easily just goes around like this. It never comes apart. It also protects your actual battery holder itself. You could put on as much as you want, but about 3 little turns is adequate. This is one of those tricks that only RC gurus like me and probably Nitro Mike would know. Let me show you the failsafe function. Turn the radio on, turn the car on, just check everything works. The steering is a little bit faster, so it looks like the batteries that were in there were actually a little bit depleted. What really matters is when I turn the remote off, watch what happens to the throttle servo. There it goes. It applies full brakes. This thing can't do anything. Once you turn the remote back on, it goes back to its neutral position, just like any fit scale RC. There are no external kill switches on Nitro motors, so your failsafe is basically the only option you have of stopping this in time. Now, of course, if your batteries come loose in the receiver pack here, this is not going to work. That's why I wrapped it in the electrical tape. Top tip, make sure you do this. Let me talk a little bit about maintenance and how to keep these things pretty secure and safe in terms of the fuel delivery system. Notice I have an inline fuel filter right here. So this particular tank does not have a built-in fuel filter at the bottom like many of them do. And as I open up the fuel cap, take a look at all this sand around the rim right here. Yep, there's a lot of sand. This is basically what ruins Nitro motors over time, other than, a lack of tuning skills and basically just beating on it too much. One little pebble of sand from here makes it its way into the fuel, goes into the carb, goes into the engine. Consider your piston and sleeve goners. That's pretty much going to be the cost of the engine to repair. In this case, a fuel filter is probably your best alternative to protect yourself from anything like this. And when you're driving these things outside, it's inevitable that you're going to get a little bit of dirt inside the fuel sooner or later. It's just one of those things, it's a matter of time. Now, a lot of people also like to remove the filters here and clean them and oil them. Of course, you're supposed to do that. Mine is already oiled, so I'm not going to mess with it. If you notice, there is still a bunch of sand all around the filter. It's really hard to tell, but take my word for it, guys, there's a lot of sand. When you remove this is once again one of those risks. And if you noticed, I did not remove the glow plug from the top of the motor. I instead removed the entire coolant head to check the glow plug. The reason is I did not want to risk, once again, getting a little piece of dirt or sand inside the cylinder itself. That is the worst thing that could happen to one of these Nitro RCs. It's inevitable. Now, mine is relatively clean for one of these, but it's just one of those things. The smoke, the exhaust comes out. Tendencies are that dirt is going to attract itself to the engine. No matter how hard you try to keep it clean, even if you have no leaks around the cylinder or the engine anywhere around it, you're going to get some, sand and dirt sticking to the outside of the crankcase. It's just inevitable. Try to remove the filter and the glow plug the least amount of times as you can, because that is going to be your best way to fight the chance of getting debris inside the motor.
Okay, today I'm going to be doing a short look at the Exceed RC 1/10 scale Rally Monster short course truck. Just got this in the mail today. Okay, so here we go. Body looks to be very nicely painted. Size itself looks appropriate. This is a 1/10 scale, but to be honest with you, it looks a little bit bigger than that. Okay, let's take out the truck itself. Seems fairly light, probably about 7 pounds, not too heavy for one of these. Here we go. So this is it, brand new, never ran, right from the box. That's it for now. This is just a basic unboxing of this car, and I probably will make another video.
Brakes are great. Oh, looks like we got a little malfunction. Don't know what's going on. Oh no, it's okay. We got got some nitro-related injuries, guys. I'm bleeding. It's what I do for the nitro gang, to get the blood out. You gotta sometimes spill some blood to get those nitros running, you know what I'm saying?